Hello everyone, and welcome to the project section on linear regression. In this project, we'll try to predict the interest rates based on a person's credit score and loan amounts. So we'll be using the data from lendingclub.com. So this is their website, lendingclub.com. It's a lending site and members make loans to each other. And the site kind of collects data on loans and borrowers, so they save anonymous data. Okay? And we'll be using their data for this project. So what's a FICO score? Here I mentioned based on a person's FICO score. FICO is like a credit score, and if you read the definition here, a FICO score is a credit score developed by FICO, which is a company that specializes in predicting a person's credit score. Okay, that's a FICO score, FICO credit score. Okay. So these are some of the steps that we saw while learning linear regression. We followed the steps like setting up our data, cleaning up our data, and visualizing our data. And then we used NumPy's linear regression tools. And then we used scikit-learn to implement a multivariate regression. We'll be following some of the steps in the project. Okay? So we start as usual by importing NumPy and pandas, and we import matplotlib and cbor. So these are the main imports, and anything else that we need, we'll import it. Okay. Now let's start by browsing our data. So I have a site here that contains the data related to this loans and borrowing. Okay, so we'll be using this data. Let's see what this data contains. For that, I'll use the read CSV method. Okay, so pd.read CSV, and then I'll simply pass the URL. Okay, and let's save that in a variable. Let's say loan data. Okay, loans data, and let's see what it looks like by calling the heads method. Loans data head. Let's run it. Oh, let me run my panda. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It has these columns. It has so many columns. We have amount that requested, amount funded by investors. We have data a column related to interest rate, loan lengths, and so on. Okay. Now let's see some of the columns related to this data. Okay, let's start by looking the loan lengths, which is this column. So loans data, and then we'll pass the loan lengths, loan.length. Okay, let's see the first 10 rows. Okay, so I'll pass index 0 to 10. Let's run it. Okay, so this is what it looks like. 36 months, 36, 60 months, and so on. For our purpose, we don't need this months, we just need the numbers here. Okay, so we'll have to remove the menses from that. Now let's look at the interest rate. I'll use the same method. So loans data, and then I'll pass the interest rate, interest that rate. Okay, and let's see the first 10 rows. So we have an interest rate of 8.9, 12.12, and so on. And we don't need this percentage symbols. We just need the number for our purpose. Okay? Next, let's look at some information related to FICO score. Let me go back to my table here. So here I have, this is the FICO score, FICO.range. So this is basically the credit score. For instance, 735 to 739 and so on. Let's see that data. So loans underscore data, and then we'll pass the FICO range, FICO.range, and we want to see the first 10 rows. Let's run that. Okay, we have a range here. Okay, but for our purpose we don't need this range. We just need one of the numbers here, right? When we worked with credit score. So what we will do is we need to convert this range into strings. First we need to convert the range into strings, and then once we convert that to a string, we need to parse that string, right? So for instance, the second row, 715 to 719, right? So this range, we need to convert it into string, which is in this form, and then we need to parse that string so that we get two numbers. Okay, like this, 715 and 719. Okay, and then once we have this, we can just pick any number just for our purpose. We can either pick 715 or 719. It wouldn't make that much difference. Or we can randomly select a number between 715 or 719, or we can take the mean value. Okay, we can use any of those values. It doesn't make a difference. It wouldn't affect our results much. Okay, I'll just be picking the lowest limit, for instance in this case 715. Okay, and you guys can take the highest number or a number in between, anything, but I'll just pick the lowest limit, 715 in this case. Okay, so these are the information, some of the information related to this data that we will need. But first, from the loan data, from loan.length, we need to remove the months. And then from the interest rate, we need to remove this percentage signs. And from here, from the FICO range, we need to convert this into a string and then parse the string so that we can choose a number. Okay, so that's the data cleaning process. And once we have that, we can work directly with this data, which will be more easier. So we have that cleaned up data already. I grabbed that from the internet and I have saved it, and I have saved that in my Jupyter's Homebook location directory. It's the loan.csv file. Okay, so this is the file, loan.csv. Let's open and see what it looks like now. So I'll use the read CSV method, read CSV, and then name of my file, loan.csv. Okay, and make sure to place this file where your Jupyter notebook is located. And let's save that in a variable loans. Okay, loans.head, let's view it. Okay, now we have this: interest rate, FICO score, loan length, monthly income, and loan amount. So here we see that the interest rate has no longer the percentage symbol, and FICO score is just a single number instead of a range, and our loan length doesn't have months anymore. Okay, and in the next lecture we'll continue with visualization. Thank you everyone.